Hi everyone, welcome to the Nostalgic Dragon, where I talk about fantasy books, mythological books, and sometimes science fiction. Today I am going to talk about how does the beginning of a book, a fantasy book, shape the story. And I'm especially interested to hear about your thoughts on that. And I know many of you are writing fantasy, so maybe you have some ideas how to start your story or your book. And I'm curious on how you approach that and how much emphasis you put on the beginning of the story. Is it important or is it not? I have a few books here that I'm going to talk about. It's the Lord of the Rings, it's Bilbo, and it's Abercrombie's The Blade itself. I have Gardens of the Moon here. And I also have Crimson Guard, E.N.C. Esselmont, and I also have Malice, like this. And that also reflects a lot about what I'm reading right now. I'm reading Howling Dark, as you know, as well, but it's in the bookshelf here. I won't talk about that. If we look on Lord of the Rings, it's a very positive book, I would say. It's a lot about hope, believe in the impossible, believe in cooperation, and believe in friendship. And the beginning, I think, reflects that. It's about a party. Everyone has read it, I suppose. It's a birthday party. It's about the hobbits. It's about the wizard, Gandalf, visiting, and it's about the ring. And we learn a lot about the hobbits. We learn a lot about the world itself, the lore. But it's a moment of joy and a bit of sadness because Bilbo leaves, but a moment of joy, especially if you compare it with the modern fantasy books today. And also the environment descriptions are very colorful. So it's not dull, it's not rainy, it's not depressive, it's happy, very happy. So that's the beginning of Lord of the Rings. If we look at the other book by Tolkien, known by you, of course, Bilbo. Bilbo also starts, Bilbo was especially written, I understand, as a children book, and it starts with an unexpected dinner with a lot of dwarves, and it's Bilbo and also Gandalf. And if I remember it right, it starts with Gandalf actually meeting Bilbo and saying good morning in a few ways. So also this book has a positive start. It's vibrant, it's colorful, it's happy, it's very joyful. It's a lot of poems in here that are more of children rhymes, for example. Lord of the Rings is, of course, a darker book than Bilbo, but it's a story, but mostly for, I would say, children and younger adults. A completely different kind of beginning we have in Abercrombie's The Blade itself. Here we get to know Logan a bit, Logan Nine Fingers in the beginning. He's attacked by Shanka, kind of monster. And we also get to know Glokta, the torturer. So it actually starts quite early with the torture scene. So that might be trigger warning for many of you. Yeah, so the difference between Lord of the Rings and Abercrombie is obvious. Here we have a grim, dark start and not so much of hope and joy, I would say. A lot of confusion, a lot of frustration, a lot of bitterness, and I would definitely say that shapes the story of the Blade itself. And I'm a bit further in the before they are hanged, the book, the second book, also has this kind of feel. Also, the environment or the nature is dull and quite depressive, I would say. So that's the Blade itself. If we look at the Gardens of the Moon. This is an older copy. the first I started to read actually. This starts very differently in comparison with a lot of the Rings and also Abercrombie's work, because here we have if we just look at the structure, we have a poem, a very beautiful poem about the Malasan Book of the Fallen and what it will tell you, and that it is history relived, that's all. So very poetic. It continues with another poem about the emperor is dead. And then we go on to a kind. All Malasan books have prologues, and here we are in Malas city, 11th, 54th year of Bern's sleep, the 96th year of Malasan Empire, and the last year of Emperor Kellenved's reign. So this prologue is about Malas city. We are thrown into a war, and the environment is dull. It's it's war, so it's a depressive, dramatic environment. It's Malas city, a coastal city, and we don't know so much about it. We get to know some soldiers that reflect on what has happened, and we also a little later get to meet three people. I won't spoil them to you, but those three people are very mysterious and they are very important for the story in Malasan Book of the Fallen. But the start of Gardens of the Moon is maybe a bit confusing, and for me, confusing is not a negative thing, because that means that there are mysteries to understand and to reveal as a reader. So there's a lot of things that is thrown out by Erickson in the beginning, and some leads, and I think that is actually shaping the story, and it's a good way of describing Erickson's writing. A lot of things we don't know so much about that he assumes we know, and also there is a lot of details in his writing, and that is obviously something that will continue in the Malasan Book of the Fallen. So it's a very detailed written, and you can really immerse yourself in the feeling of being in Malas city. So I think it's a interesting start. It's not optimistic like Tolkien. It's not, I would say it's not depressive or frustrating like Abercrombie. This is something more related to Abercrombie, but not as grimdark. There seems to be a bit of hope actually in the beginning of Malasan Book of the Fallen when you listen to or read what the characters has to say. His co-author, Ian C. Esselmont, Crimson Guard. The beginning of Crimson Guard is similar to many other Malasan books, but we are usually thrown back maybe hundreds or thousands of years to get a glimpse of maybe ascendance or maybe gods and what has happened. We don't really know why, but in the end of the book, usually the prologue is resolved, and this starts in a similar manner, and then it continues with that we get to know a war band or an army and individuals there and what they are up to. So that is reflect the shape of the story of Crimson Guard, especially that we get to know some of the members of the army, because that's people that we will follow during the whole book. And ENC's writing is a bit different from Erickson, as you might know, but it's a lot of humor in his writing, and maybe not everything is not so, you could say, dramatic or maybe not so poetic. It's humorous, it's action-filled, and that is also something that is shaping the rest of the book. The last book that I have is Malice, John Gwynne. I've just started to read this book, and this book starts with first some lore and also a mysterious event with one of the characters called Evnis. And then it continues to describe conflicts between different people, young man called Corbin, but it also revolves around a wedding. I think that beginning with the wedding at least reminds me a bit about Lord of the Rings and the Shire, but also about the Eye of the World. Malice is written for younger people, but also older people, obviously, but it has a more relaxed style than Abercrombie and the Malazan books, for example. So it's another kind of fantasy. And so far it has shaped what I've read of the book so far. I mean, the first chapters has shaped the rest of the following chapters of the book. We'll see if it will continue like that. I've heard that there are a lot of twists and a lot of surprises. So we'll see. So that was my thoughts about how fantasy books can start and how the start can shape the story. Now I'm interested to hear your thoughts about the beginnings of the fantasy books. What do you like? What kind of beginnings do you like? Are there some no-nos, for example, or don'ts, do's and don'ts when you start to write the first chapters and what they are supposed to include? If you write yourself, I'm interested to hear about your writing process. How do you tackle the beginning? Do you just start to write, or do you plan the story from the start to the beginning? So I hope you have enjoyed the video. If so, please like and subscribe. And if you have some thoughts, please share them with me in the comments below. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye.